Hello, friends. This rain bothers me. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Recently, a few months ago, I moved into a new house in the mountains. It's almost always cold and I'm surrounded by woods, but I like it as it's easy to do my job in isolation, with little distractions. I sell paintings and am paid a small monthly check to write poems for a magazine that is both online and physical. The new surroundings have given me all sorts of inspiration both for writing and painting. The strange occurrences started about a week into me living here. More and more frequently I'd find dead animals nearby. Not really gored or anything, just dead rabbits, birds, and the occasional fox. It freaked me out, but I just assumed a predator of sorts was showing off because they felt threatened by me. I decided to always carry around a gun and a taser, just to be safe. I also decided to call an expert on the mountains and asked him to visit. When he came he seemed worried. Now this man was a fairly old Native American who had lived on these mountains for about his whole life, so this concerned me, knowing he knew just about everything on this mountain. He sat me down and told me a tale of a dark creature, born of hunger and cold, a Wendigo. I was skeptical. This was a creature of fiction. At least, I thought it was. He left with a stern warning to never stray too far from home without good reason, and never follow the voices of the forest, as it may be a Wendigo luring me to their feeding grounds. I spent the next few days watching the woods closely. Maybe if I got a glimpse of whatever was in the woods my mind could be put at ease. At first, I saw nothing. Then I saw swift movement among the underbrush and trees. It wasn't until around the 5th day of watching, I saw something clearly, something standing upright, with deer-like legs, staring at me with pale eyes. I quickly went inside, suddenly feeling chilled to the bone. It took a bit and some self-pumping before I could go back outside to do my painting and wood watches. I found myself putting what I could see of the creature in my paintings, but I could never catch the coldness of its eyes quite right. It fascinated and terrified me greatly, but I couldn't stop. The creature got braver, showing a bit more as time passed. I could now confirm it had a large set of antlers and its front limbs were not hooves like its back legs but claws. It watched me almost as curiously as I watched it. I knew then that it was likely a Wendigo, one that decided to watch me, although I didn't dare attempt to approach it, knowing its curious nature might be as deceiving as a wolf's smile. Although I never verbally called it this name, I subconsciously named it Branch. It seemed suiting. He started, or I think it was him, pushing over items on my porch, like empty paint pots and small decorations, going back to the tree line by the time I come outside. It didn't really bother me as nothing got damaged, kind of reminded me of a cat actually. I began speaking to it, not expecting responses. While I painted I would just ramble out loud, knowing he was just at the trees. I don't know if he listened but I think he did, as his ears would face towards me the whole time, those long slightly disproportionate ears. One day he appeared with scars, a few still bleeding. This concerned me but I couldn't get close to him. He was an injured animal and would even more likely attack me if I got close. After a few days they healed to pale marks on his skin. This happened a few times but I learned to ignore it. This routine went on for a good while. I watched him, he watched me, but we kept our distance. But that changed yesterday. He approached me, and I didn't even notice until I saw his shadow. I looked up and saw shaggy black fur that smelled like rotting meat. I could see his cold empty eyes so clearly now. They were genuinely curious but hungry. I didn't move. I froze up. I didn't even shiver. After what seemed like an eternity, he turned and headed towards the trees. I didn't dare move until he disappeared among the trees. I went inside and called the man that warned me of them, He agreed to come to pick me up when we could. I'm waiting for the man to get here. The branch is staring at me through the window. Excuse me for the wait. I couldn't find much time to write after I posted. A few hours after the man pulled in the front, which unlucky for me, was where Branch was. I got the meat chop I had pulled out earlier and stepped outside. Branch was staring through the window. When he turned to look at me, I made sure to look at his chest fur rather than his eyes. Soulless cold eyes. I threw the meat. He ignored it. Didn't even twitch. I started to slowly move towards the man's truck. Branch's eyes tracking me. As I moved off the porch, he started to follow me, his hooves making heavy footfall on the wood. His eyes never left me as I slowly made my way to the car. He slowly followed, staying 3 feet away, no more no less. When I finally made it in, he was still staring, with those cold empty eyes. The man slowly pulled out and started down the long mountain trail. He started muttering about how I shouldn't have let it get this far, as well as other colorful words and terms. Right now I'm at his cottage at the base of the mountain. I'm still shaken and I don't know if I want to risk going back. His wife is lovely and treats me well, as far as guests go, but I know I'll have to leave soon. The man explained that the Wendigo was one well known on the mountain, known for only attacking young females, always leaving the head intact. Now, this is only semi-relevant, as I am a man. But he can't explain why he's taken a sudden interest in me. Maybe he's contemplating eating me. In a few hours, he's taking me back. He's given me food, a gun, several rounds, and a blowtorch. I got home an hour ago. The branch wasn't there, but my porch looked like a tornado passed, and I think there's shit by the doorstep. I quickly went inside and locked the doors to the windows. I don't think he knows I'm back yet, and I don't want him to know. It's been a few hours and no sign of him. I don't want to go outside to tidy up my porch. I'm too scared to. It's hard to swallow the sandwich I made because of the tension I'm feeling, but I have to eat. I think I'm gonna take a nap after I finish it. He's here. He's staring into the windows and making distorted huffs and brays, occasionally stamping his hooves on the porch. He can't see me right now cause I'm behind the couch. He sounds angry. He's started banging his antlers on the glass. He's trying to fucking break it. It's starting to crack. The glass shattered. My heart is pounding. My ears are ringing. I can smell the rotten meat he reeks of. He crawled in through the window. I think he can smell me. He's started knocking over random things, but I'm frozen. I can't bring myself to peek. I might try to make a run for it, or I'll have to wait it out. He just went down the hall. I'm gonna go out the front and run. I don't know how far I ran, but the sun went down by the time I stopped and the temp is definitely below freezing. Luckily I was already wearing a heavy coat, and I found a small overhang. We'll rest, hopefully. He doesn't find me. I woke up, but it's still dark out. It's only 12. I slept 3 hours. I'm shivering like crazy, but the overhang helps a little, blocking the wind. The forest seems still. Nothing is stirring, not even the owls are hooting. I'm gonna go back to sleep, hopefully. It's light out when I wake up this time. I woke up an hour or so ago and started walking towards the base of the mountain. My limbs feel numb, but the movement has helped. The forest is still eerily quiet, and I keep finding blood puddles and tufts of fur. I think the branch threw a massive tantrum. I need to find a house with people in it. Safety in numbers. I didn't bring the gun. I know, I'm stupid, but I just wanted away from him. I started running again. I heard what sounded like hooves, and I swear I smelled rotting flesh again. If he catches me on his turf, I'm honestly fair game to kill, even if I'm not his preferred food. I found a field of corpses: deer, bears, rabbits, wolves, birds, dead animals everywhere. I quickly went around it, holding my breath. trying not to puke. I guess that's why the forest was so quiet. He killed all the animals in a fit, like a violent child throwing a tantrum, a child that could easily rip out my throat and cave in my ribcage and skull. I'm seriously hoping he isn't following me. I can see houses. I think I found one of those retreats for monks or whatever who take vows of silence. I'm gonna see if they can help me. So, good news. They happily let me into a living area where I could warm up and provided food and a warm drink. I think it's just milk. They contacted someone and wrote me a note saying that someone would be coming for me to take me off the mountain. A few decided to be curious, so I explained what happened. A few wrote me off, but others gave me scared, shocked looks. They've taken me to the bedroom and communicated that I can sleep until the person coming to get me actually gets here. When he does, I'm not going back. My things can stay there, as can Branch. I'll find somewhere else to live, like an apartment, in a city, with people. I was able to sleep a few hours before the guy came. I told him to just take me to the nearest town. I'm outside a motel right now, slowly making calls and arrangements. I'm never going back to that place, with that thing, ever.